What's up? Welcome to the Untold Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what project cars are the best to start with. We're going to go by budget. And hopefully we're not going to hurt any feelings, Andrews, in the process. To start off, we're going to go with project cars under 2,000. Also known as Alan's shitty Honda.
Hey,
Yeah.
mine was over fucking 2,000. So.
Sounds like you overpaid.
I mean, Hondas are kind of like the standard for like under $2,000. So if you only have $2,000 to spend on a project car, like you're kind of going Honda.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else would you go? Can't get a Cobalt for 2K.
No.
This is like
not a SS.
this is like a coming out of high school budget, failing college. I don't know.
I mean, a Crown Vic?
If we're going failing college, we're going with the early 2000s Ford Mustang V6 because we all know no one's happy when they own one of those.
I like the V6.
I mean, for $2,000,
If I tinted the windows enough,
you literally bought fucking
if I tinted the windows enough and I wasn't part of a car scene, V6 Mustang, great.
right.
Like I'm tinting that front windshield. I don't want to be.
No
seen.
one can see you in that shit.
You're not getting. I mean, unless it's clapped out with like no headlights, you're really not going to get a V8 Mustang of any kind really for under 2K. But you can get a lot of V6 Mustangs for that price, or that that inline 4 one, the Fox body.
Gross.
Is it
Gross.
inline 4 or is it V6 or V4?
There is a inline 4
It is an inline 4.
turbo Fox body.
It does
Is it the SHO? Is that what?
It's still
Hold
dog
on.
shit. I'm sorry. if
Bringing
you're gonna get
back
an inline
worst
4 wheel
memories.
drive car for 2K,
SVO.
I mean you might be able to get one of those for 2K, not the turbo one. You could get like a junkyard salvage title Miata maybe for 2K, but like you're really pushing it.
That's if they didn't put any body panels back on it. Right. Totaled front end, and you're just rebuilding it. Maybe $2,000.
Alan's mic's not working.
Alan's not speaking. Oh, no. He just
Oh,
He's just
no.
answering. Fuck that guy. He drives a Honda.
Noob. What a noob.
fucking Honda people.
All right. Well, he fixes his mic issue.
Focus.
Oh,
I
okay.
do think
I got it again.
probably just turned it off like an idiot. Let's see. Hondas for
Probably.
sure. Good motors.
Hmm.
And I'm not just saying like a K series motor. Like
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
All of
Well,
the motors.
I mean,
well, except for the single cam.
most D series are still fucking good. I mean, half of the fucking car group has fucking D series.
Well, I still think like, for reliability, I think the single cams are going to work great. And if you just want to
Yeah.
modify a car and make it look good, like the single cam works. It gets you
Yeah.
from point A to B. It's not fast.
Yeah.
But I
No.
mean, if you wanted something fast, why are you buying a Honda Civic in the first place that doesn't have a K20 in it, like an EM1?
I mean, a B series is still fast, but
Well, it depends on what your definition of fast
I was about to
is.
say. I was like,
well,
you
there
have-
is a
if you're
difference
buying-
between
look.
fast and quick.
Look, all
They are
Honda
not
guys,
quick.
they're lying.
all Honda guys are the same. Full throttle, 20 miles per hour, and they're throwing themselves back into the seat because they think they're fast.
Hear me out. Hear
It's
me
a
out.
Honda guy thing.
Look, I'm a Mustang guy. I drive a V8 Mustang, and I came from a Miata. That Miata, it was slower than a B series, but
Yeah.
I could actually drive that thing around town and like wrap it out and have some fun with it. If I got into corners in the back road, I could actually go full throttle, use the whole exhaust.
And not actually like fucking you aren't like drifting the car because it doesn't have enough power.
Oh no, you can
do
Oh,
drift
you
that
can
car.
drift a
You can drift that
stock
car.
I mean, you
Miata.
can drift it. I'm
chuck it
I'm
into
saying
the
is you
corner.
can. Well, if you chuck
Clutch
it into
dump.
a corner,
Clutch
but
dump,
like
chuck it into
if
the
you're
corner.
full throttle in a corner, I don't think you're gonna fucking. You might skirt the tire.
You gotta hawk
But-
it into a corner. Fucking, it works. It works.
Kick
It's-
that clutch hard. It'll
Were you doing it
fucking
in
do
third
it.
gear? No. Were you doing it in second gear? Kinda. First gear, having lots of fun in first gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mustang. I like the Mustang. It's faster. It's a lot cooler, in my opinion. It's cooler than a Miata. I'm sorry, even though the Miata has pop-up headlights, the Mustang's just a lot more fun.
Up and
Way
down
cooler
headlights.
Headlights.
Yeah. But I had more fun in the Miata. Like, it was a more fun car to drive every single day, and it wasn't because it was rear-wheel drive. It was because I was actually able to bring the thing out. And coming from, I've driven Hondas before too, and like, are they as fun as a Miata? No. Do they look better than a Miata?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, yeah, no pop-up
Not with that
headlights,
soft
but like,
top.
if you look at that Miata for everything except the headlights, the car kind of looks like a boat. And then you put wheels on it, and you're like, now it just looks like a boaty car. I don't know.
Are we
With
talking
pop-up
about the
headlights.
Miata, or we're talking about the Challenger and the Chargers now? Wait a minute.
Sounds
Okay,
like we're
okay, the
talking about a
Miata.
Mustang.
Like, if you pull a
About
stock
boats.
photo of a Miata up, the wheels are way tucked in. It's all curvy on the outside. It looks like it could float.
Yeah.
And most pop-up headlight cars like the RX-7 or like the Corvettes and stuff like that, like, they look really sleek. And you look at the Miata from the front and you're like, I could see it. And then you start going to the side and the back and you're like, it's small. It's curvy.
It's
Well, we're gonna
small
call
for
it curvy.
sure.
Yeah.
It shares similar body lines, in my opinion, to the Lexus SC300, the one from the late 90s. It's just it's bubbly.
Yeah.
But yeah. What do you guys think, other than Hondas? Clapped out.
Focus
Oh.
SVT 100% all day long. You can find them for $2,000. That's a 170 horsepower, 2-liter.
Yeah.
Weighs 2,700 pounds.
Yeah.
It was faster. It was faster than the 2002 Cobra around a track. So they made. They made the Terminator Cobra with the supercharger.
Fair.
I'm going to stick with my V6 Mustang. It's the way to go.
Oh, Focus SVT over the V6
you-
Mustang all
you can find
all day.
old police Crown Vics, I bet, for two
Oh,
grand.
for sure,
So
100%.
you can get an
And
old
those
police
have
Crown
the
Vic,
same motor as a V8.
Yep, 4.6.
Mustang.
4.6 intercept.
4.6
Yeah.
Great.
V8.
The for a clean one, it is going to be closer to the $5,000 mark.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at that. Because I still want a lifted Crown Vic. I just want to put 33s on a Crown Vic. I'm sorry. But you can find some of the less desirable, like flaky clear coat ones for 2K, and a lot of people are like, that's like, a grandpa car, or it looks kind of older. It's not the prettiest thing. Or the Grand Marquis, I think, is the one that's the other one.
I think so. Is that the Chevy version or still Ford?
That's Lincoln.
Oh, or is
It's-
it the Continental?
It's the exact same car, just Lincoln flavored.
Oh, I thought it was the Continental.
I don't know. There's a Lincoln version, and we know that.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
one of her friends had one.
So they're all pretty much automatic cars, but they're not to be slept on. They're all kind of quick. All of them have over 300 torque.
Yeah,
All of them are going to gap every single Honda at your meet.
yeah.
In your 2016 Focus STs. Calling Braden out.
Subtle call out.
That's coming. It's going to be a lot there from you since, your 07 Mustang loses to that ST.
We need a rematch. All right. So a little bit of curveball for the 2K mark. Mini trucks like the old Mazda B2000s, the late 90s and early 90s, the Chevy S10, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can find a lot of those with like little V6s or inline fours for about like 2K.
Yeah.
And it's a good grocery getter. It's a truck that transports your parts.
What about old Tacomas?
You're not finding an old Tacoma for 2K. I'm sorry.
Nowhere. No,
I'm
like
sorry.
$8,000.
They're like 5 to
I
7
mean,
grand.
even if they're beat to shit.
You don't want to beat the shit. You can get a good bodied, like questionable paint. You could Rust-Oleum paint it. I don't know. You can get a good paint one for like 3-4K when it comes to like the S10s, stuff like that. For like not like up like C-cut ones that have the drop bed and lower and all this other, but like just like a good condition bodied one. You can find a lot of those for like 2K, 2.5K, or even a grand. Like you can get a beat up one for $1,000. You're not getting a beat up Toyota for anything less than like
$5,000.
3K, I'd say. But like it's
Around-
like worn as shit, 300,000 miles.
Around this area, you're not seeing anything under $5,000.
Fair in this area. Going away from mini trucks, the other thing that I was thinking about was like a Legacy GT or like a non WRX Impreza
Yeah.
For 2K?
for 2K. Yeah, there's a
Legacy
lot of them.
GT. What year are you talking about?
Late 90s, early 2000s. There's a lot of them that are around that price point.
Maybe like real early 2000s. The one I think of is definitely more than 2K with the because it
What
has
year?
a WRX motor in it. Like
Well, obviously, I'm talking like
7-ish?
like the non WRX motor. You just throw it in there. It's like you gets you in the boxers. It's not
Yeah.
like an EJ20 or anything crazy like that. It's just a Subaru that you're gonna run naturally aspirated up in like the mountains and stuff like that, or even around town. Like they sound
actually,
good.
Another one I could think of is an Impreza 2.5 RS that uses the it's basically a NA WRX, same body style as the 22B STI, just
Right.
no turbo in it. But a lot
What
of
am-
people do the STI and WRX swaps. I think that'd be sick.
So
One of my friends back from Boise, when I was going up to school up there, he had a really nice white one. It was automatic with a bunch of work done in it. And I'm like, I was looking at it at the time. He didn't know how to drive manual yet. He drove that for until he got his apprenticeship done for being an electrician. And then when he got his pay increase, he just went out and got like a brand new WRX manual. Thank God.
Yeah.
So, what are we thinking for the
Whoa,
under
hold on.
$5,000 price?
hold
point?
on. I want to add something to the $2,000 mark here.
Oh, well.
Okay.
For since it's project car, are we looking like strictly something running?
Okay, it's so this is a starter project car. We're not
Starter
talking
project car.
This is not
Okay.
people with a bunch of mechanical knowledge. This is like, again, I'm coming out of high school or I'm coming out of college, and like for example, if you're coming out of college, say you got like $8,000 saved up, you got money set aside for like an emergency fund, moving in costs, security deposit costs, and you're like, I got $2,000 left over, and I don't want to go out and get like a Hyundai Sonata or a Toyota Camry. I would like something that's actually like fun.
So
but I
it
only have
probably
2K.
does need to be running,
So
right?
this is
Yeah,
this is
it needs
definitely
to be
gonna
running. It needs
Yeah.
to be reliable. It needs to have like don't have to throw a bunch of work on it. That's
SVT Focus,
I
boom.
haven't said anything about BMWs on this list.
Okay,
There's a
how
reason why they're
perfect.
staying off.
That-
BMW.
that is all I wanted to ask, because you can get a running like 2010 to like 2015 Dodge Dart for under $2,000.
It's a Dodge Dart.
cap on that.
I'm not
It's a
cheap.
Chrysler.
cheap.
I'm not saying the Dodge Dart that's turboed. I'm not talking about the Rally Sport. Just the Dodge Dart, right?
I'm checking on Facebook. There's one.
Hold
Here's
on.
one. Does it run?
Two,
How many
Needs
recalls has that car
three.
had? Hold on. I think that car's had a lot of recalls.
Oh, probably. This is like, honestly, this car could have been the spiritual successor to the SRT4 Neon. But instead, they just
blew it.
passed the opportunity.
They blew it. That's
They-
what they did.
They did a kind of almost cool one with the turbo, but it was still super slow. It's a tiny little engine with a tiny little turbo, made no power.
None
Doesn't
whatsoever.
can't really make much power.
The early 2000 V6 Mustang walked them all the time.
Just
No
feel
problem.
like
I raced one in the old V6 Mustang. I think I technically lost on the fucking top end. I was winning. This was the turbo one though. This
Yeah, no.
was the can't remember what
Every-
it's called.
It's the
cool
Rally
one.
Sport. It's the Rally
Or
Sport.
Rally Eye?
No, Rally Sport.
Rally
the name of it.
Sport?
Yeah.
I see a bunch of Rally Eyes. I don't see any Rally Sports.
I think you could buy a C4 Corvette for two grand.
No.
no.
Are you sure?
Hell no.
Yeah,
Looking
I'm
like-
very sure. Not a running one.
You're looking at like
Yeah, maybe-
3,500.
I mean,
A
my
roller.
brother bought one running, so
Look, I'm-
that's
we're talking-
why.
we're not
How
talking
long
about
ago?
like
from your grandpa. That's a different story. Your grandpa gave him a deal.
we are not talking about like the corner decrepit creps of Facebook Marketplace. We're talking like what would you normally see for a C4, and you're not going to see $2,000 for a
No.
running C4.
You're gonna especially-
I think you could.
I think you're gonna
Hold
see
on a
30.
second.
I think you're gonna see 3,500 for a rough running one, not
Hold
a
on.
good running one, a rough running one.
Here's one for 3. I don't know if it runs yet.
I don't know if it runs yet. but like those cars are notorious for problems.
Yeah, very
And-
notorious.
For a starter project car, I really like BMWs. No, C4 Corvettes. No, the
No.
C5 had a lot of problems too. To be completely honest, there was a lot of quirks, and parts for those cars are not cheap because everything's expensive. Plus,
And
it's OBD1, maybe.
Maybe.
Since I think some of those are just straight carbureted with a couple wires. I might be wrong. Maybe that's the generation before it, but I know C4. Pretty much the entire generation of C4, I believe, is OBD1, which is not necessarily easy to work on. Or if it gets broken, taking an OBD1 car to a mechanic is a fucking nightmare.
You could get a pretty nice one for like $5,000. There's one that needs a head gasket but runs for 2,500. Doesn't look nice.
Nah, you're even if it had a good head gasket, you're gonna drive that for a couple thousand miles, and
It's gonna
Need a
It's
head
an
gasket.
a couple
older
thousand
car.
miles.
I mean, I don't know.
A few hundred miles, maybe.
I mean, okay. I can't say anything because this car was garage kept,
you're not finding
Pretty
a garage
much.
kept car.
Look, I'm
You're
just
not-
saying, Alan,
and my
That
brother
car does
drove
not-
it for a straight year.
that car does not count because you guys got it from your grandpa. That car does not count.
That car on the marketplace is a $6,000 car. I'm sorry, a garage kept C4 from your grandpa that you got for $2,000? No. he wanted to keep it in the family. Got rid of it for $2,000. Probably. I don't
Yeah,
know,
he probably
brownie
just
points, or
didn't
maybe
want-
he liked his kids.
He probably didn't want to just give it away, so he had to ask for something. Just give me $2,000. That way you feel like you bought it and you earned it.
All right,
Hold
I
up.
don't know.
under $5,000.
5K SRT4.
Under
I have seen a lot of SRT4s for like $4,000. SRT4 and then not the turbocharged, but the supercharged Cobalt.
Yep.
You can see a lot of those for
you could,
4K.
I'm sure you could find a turbo one too. It just might not be the best kept. The Neon won't be either, the SRT4, but you could definitely find a decent one for $5,000.
For
I-
five, dude. I don't know.
I don't. I think they're
Honestly.
out there. I think commonly the turbo one's going to be like 6K because that's what almost. I feel like most of them are going to be listed as that, or something's wrong with it.
Yeah, most neons and cobalts are all within that like 5 to 8 grand range. 8 for super clean low miles, and then 5 for the kind of jankier ones. Maybe the paint's not very good, but it runs good.
Can't you find eclipses?
You can find
Which ones?
Okay, you're not going to find the good Eclipse.
You'll find Caleb's Eclipse for 5K.
You might be able to get a.
You can find like the 90s to like early 2000s.
What
for
about-
Not
what
the
about-
turbo ones.
No.
So-
What about the one that Gavin or Jamal had?
Like I
Oh,
said,
just the
early
regular
9,000
V6.
Yeah.
early 1990s
Indeed.
to early 2000s.
Was that one
fits
turbo?
Gavin's. No.
No,
No.
It's the V6. It's
The
after they
V6?
got rid of the turbo option.
Well,
that
Gavin had an auto 4-cylinder.
Okay,
Was
there.
it the
One.
same body as Jamal's?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was no turbo option for that.
Are we
car.
Yeah,
talking
so
No.
it was still
Gen
NA
3?
though.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
so.
No, I think it's Gen 4. I think the early 1990s to
The one
early
from
2000s.
Too Fast,
is
Too
like
Furious. The
is like-
fucking
The
convertible.
green
No,
one.
no.
You're talking about the green
Nope,
one, right?
after that one.
Okay. Are we
No.
talking about what's his name?
Or the black
The-
guy.
Caleb?
No,
Black guy's
the-
car.
Caleb's. Are we talking Caleb's?
No, we're talking the
Okay,
one just
Gen
before
3.
that, I
Gen
think.
3.
No, I'm pretty sure Caleb's is a Gen 5.
Okay, it's a Gen 3, guys, because the
I
one
could be
before
wrong.
that is a Gen 2. Like I know a little bit about GSM. That's a Gen 3. The one before that's Gen 2. So
Yeah,
with
we're
that
talking
one,
about a third gen.
Okay,
Okay.
we're talking about like the one with like which green one from Fast and Furious? Are we talking like
The first movie.
The,
The
very
first
first
movie.
Fast and the Furious.
so the second
Oh,
gen?
it was the
Okay.
first one.
You can get the non-turbo one, in a manual for actually
the
for the
second
2
one,
grand
you're
point
right.
that we just talked about. You can get a GST, I think, for 5K.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that's the generation before the one that these guys were
I'm
talking about. Alan was talking about the Gen 3.
the Gen
Yeah.
3. The Gen 3s
Jamal
are
has a Gen 3. There's
Gen
no
3s are
turbo
garbage.
Had a
option.
Gen
They are
3.
garbage. They're fucking ugly too.
so you can get a Gen 2 GST, not the GSX, just the front wheel
I
drive
don't think
turbo.
you get a GST for $5,000.
You can. People don't like the GST. They everybody wants the GSX. That's like
yeah,
the
those
top
go
model.
for over 10.
So you can get a GST, not a clean
Oh.
GST, but you can get a GST for 5K.
Well, this isn't 5K, but there's a 95 Eagle Talon TSI for 6,500.
Is it
So-
the black one
Yeah.
with like the whatever the finger you put on your
Yep.
leg that people punch you with on the
Yeah,
hood? Yeah,
dude, I've seen this before.
that one's kind of clapped out, to be honest. And he's had that on Marketplace for
I know. I
over
saw this.
6 months at
I saw
6,500.
this listed 41 weeks ago.
Ooh, ouch.
It's been on there a long time. So
Yeah, this
I-
is like
they're not selling for 6,500. They're selling for 5. Like 4 to 5.
if this car was like just completely stock, same thing. I bet it would sell for 65. If it wasn't so built, I think
Or
it would
if
sell.
it was manual, maybe.
Oh, what do you mean if it was manual? Is it auto?
If I remember right, because I've seen this car in
Oh.
person a couple times, it looks like it has a manual
No,
stick.
it's a manual.
It's an automatic stick. From what I remember, because I've seen this car in person, he made it look like a manual stick, but it's an automatic that still goes forward and back like an automatic, just dressed to look like a manual one.
Well, if that's true, that would make sense why it hasn't sold.
Yeah, and I might be
But
wrong with that one,
I
but
don't
I
know. I don't
believe
know. It has
that's what that
Hoosier.
car is.
It looks like it has Hoosier fucking. I don't know if they're slicks, but yeah, and they're on the drag strip. I don't know, man. That would be.
It is quick. It is a quick car.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I think you can get a GST. More commonly, you are going to find them for 6 because a lot of people do try to take a little bit of care of their paint, but you can get like a flaky paint one for 4 or 5. You can definitely get one with like higher mileage, not over 200k, but like over like 130k for 5. For like 4k, you can get the New Edge Mustangs, the V8 ones, for 4k all day.
Yeah, for $5,000, you could definitely find a nice one.
I got I have a 3-valve, the S197 for the 2007. My 3-valve Mustang I got for 5k, even though it is a salvage title, but you can find easily like a clean title New Edge Mustang for less than 5 very easily. If you are dead set on getting a BMW,
Oh Lord,
nothing's gonna change your mind.
here we go.
You can get a 328i or a 325i,
Or even a 330i.
from the early 2000s, for less than 5k. I will also like to point out that you can find 335i's with a twin turbo for less than 5k, and they are a trap. All of them are a trap.
Oh,
They all break constantly, and that's why everybody's trying to get rid of them. You'll drive that thing running for a month, and then it'll break. And every single 335i is like that, just constantly breaking.
I didn't know they came with twins. I thought they were NA.
Well, what year are we talking about? I'm seeing a lot of like 2007 and 2008s for around that price.
Yeah,
Because
that's the year. It's the E90
And those
and
do have
E92.
turbos.
They're 335i twin turbo. A lot of them you can buy broken turbos for 3k, or just broke down, or you can get like a running one for 5k. And every single one of those is a trap. Every single person I've ever seen buy those, they'll fix it and it breaks, and they'll fix it and then it breaks, and then they'll fix it and then it just breaks again. And the only one that you're not going to have to break, at least constantly, is the naturally aspirated inline 6s.
yeah, I still want a inline 6 of the 335 in manual, the NA.
That's the closest you're getting to a M3.
There's a lot of temptation because they're beautiful cars, but at the end of the day, it's very expensive.
I'm gonna have to go early 2000s Audi TT.
Oh, those are good too.
I hate the Audi TTs. I
Look,
think they're so
they
ugly.
don't-
I mean, they're ugly.
They don't
They're
look
not
good.
bad.
No, like all the insides, the engine and the transmission. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I think it's just the ugliest
They do
fucking car.
They do have reliability issues. I will state that.
I mean, it is an Audi, so I would
I
not
mean,
doubt it.
Audi.
Audi, Mercedes, BMW.
That
I'm
is-
sure they all.
it is
do.
one of the worst reliability-wise Audis I think ever made, and they have a reputation for like sitting in people's driveways on jack stands.
I raced one in the old Mustang.
Every Audi.
You're talking about the one in town?
I don't know if it's the same one.
What color?
This
was it black?
No, it was white.
We're
It was
talking
like
about the
years
TT.
ago too.
The TT. He's not talking about Parker's Audi A4.
So there's a white one in town that was on Marketplace, and it's literally on jack stands right now. That one that I believe you raced that's in town. We live in a small town.
I'm not sure. I know he fucking crashed it sometime after. He was driving it around with like basically without the front end for a while.
You're talking about Lucas. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
He was friends with my brother.
Lucas, yeah.
yeah.
Small town problem.
Yeah,
Everybody
that was a
knows
long
everybody.
time ago. That was before I knew any of you guys.
My favorite part about living in a small town is driving to the store and back, and 5 friends literally taking videos of my car or taking pictures, like spotted, and I'm like,
Or
"Fuck,
you're following me.
can I go anywhere in peace? I
No.
need a car that blends into the road. Mine's bright fucking yellow.
Hey, imagine what it's like having a car that goes pop, 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 pop. Then you just
Oh.
get everyone going, I hear you.
You cooking popcorn, dude. I have a cat delete straight pipe Mustang. I drive around the block and I have Wayne fucking texting me from way the fuck over 3 blocks away, going, "Where you going?"
Where you going?
Sounds about right.
But yeah, under the 5K price point, you can find the supercharged, not the turbocharged Cobalts. Cobalts are slower than the word
SRT4.
eludes me. The Chevy SRT4s, the Neon. Sorry,
Neon.
The Neon. The
Chevy
Cobalts.
Dodge Neon
SRT4s.
SRT4.
Hear me
The
out.
Chevy Neon.
We're
The supercharged ones were kind of a little bit of a slouch compared to the SRT4. Once they went to the turbo, they really it still wasn't faster, but they really stepped it up.
Here's the thing for this price point though. And you can argue with me all day about this. Every single Neon you're going to find for this price point is going to be clapped out, and a lot of
paint
people
Won't be
they're
good.
like shit. And then you look
Guaranteed.
at Cobalts, and I just feel like Cobalt owners actually take care of their shit.
I think it's not as much of a like a lot of people don't really know about them. Like they're not I don't want to say they're not as popular, but the kids don't fucking rush to them, buy them, and then beat on them. Like every single SRT4 that I don't know, that's just for some reason that's a car that a lot of young people jump to, and then they
Yeah.
beat the shit out of them and then sell them for the next poor guy. Which is an issue I had with mine. I was
Sounds
the
like a
ninth.
Dodge
I
problem.
was the 9th owner.
That
Of
that
that
100%
car.
I
sounds
mean,
like a
it's
Dodge
just a
thing.
Chrysler problem, honestly.
It's a Fiat
Well, it has
problem.
a lot
Get it
of
right.
all the SRT4 problems
I mean, at
that
that time it was
I
just
had
Chrysler.
at
but-
least were the standard Neon problems that the base Neon had. All the special SRT4 stuff always lasted, like the engine. Never had an issue with that ever. It was the rest of the car that was falling apart. But that was also 160,000 plus mile body, so I would kind of expect that stuff. But
So
yeah, what
for the
year
under
is
$5
this?
grand price point, I will say that you can now actually get clean Toyota pickups and old Mazda B2000s if you do want mini trucks. And if you want something like newer, like late 90s, early 2000s, even though in my opinion they're uglier, if you want something more reliable that's OBD2, you can get them for under 5K and lower them. Essentially, it's like, here's my project car. I can also take trash to the dump if I want to, or like move your buddy's couch, that's always been the appeal for me for having one of those. Is, I mean, I would like to say moving my couch, but more realistically, it's moving Braden's couch, because that's what friends are for. When they have a truck, you just obtain friends by having a vehicle like a truck. Everybody suddenly wants to talk to you more, which is good or bad. Anything else for the under $5 grand price point?
Yeah.
There
yeah.
actually is a 2009 Cobalt SS, which is the turbo one, for exactly 5K with 33,000 miles.
What's wrong with it?
That
I don't-
trans is gone.
Okay, so it's
That
a, it's
motor
a,
house is gone.
it's a
All the
salvaged,
CV axles are broken.
it's a salvaged title, but they say All it needs is an inspection, and they'll issue a rebuilt title. But honestly, I don't know. A lot of the time, I don't really care if it's a salvaged, rebuilt,
It
or a clean
depends
title. It
on
depends.
how they rebuilt it, who rebuilt
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, this car looks really fucking clean.
I mean, that's
Really
the
clean.
exterior, but that's the exterior.
Yeah,
And
that's
also,
new
in
paint.
my honest experience, that's the picture before the wreck that they're showing. You.
Oh yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
problems.
They say it doesn't have only only has it has only the driver's seat, no passenger seat, and front factory brakes need changed.
You're gonna show up. It's gonna be rusted because it sat for a year. It's gonna be Harley Quinn multicolored. The paint's not gonna match.
Not the
That's
vehicle in the
if
photos.
that's if you're assuming the pictures are before the accident.
Most of the time. Most of the
know.
time, it's before.
I would definitely go look at this if I was looking for a Cobalt.
It's definitely worth looking at. In either if you have mechanical knowledge, look at it. If you don't have mechanical knowledge, grab a mechanic friend, buy them lunch or something. We like
Yeah.
lunch.
But then you
and
look
then
at the
just-
supercharged ones, and you can find the supercharged ones
yeah
for under 5K
but why
all
would you
day
when there's a
long.
turbo one for 5K?
You don't even have to fucking look. Just type it in, and there they are. But I don't know because I do want a Cobalt eventually. If I get the SRT4 and I get the Focus SVT, I might get the supercharged Cobalt just because. Just to say I have it. I got an NA 4-cylinder. I
You can
got
also-
the turbo 4-cylinder. I got the supercharged 4-cylinder.
You can also do a single turbo conversion later on if you wanted to like actually make
Yeah,
more power
I'm sure
with the supercharged one.
take probably not a whole lot of work to do that.
It's not the
No.
same engine or the same reliability as the turbo one.
well,
though.
it's the
I will say
same
that.
engine. It's just I'm sure they made some changes to it.
The power limits on the turbo ones are higher than the supercharged ones.
Yeah, they
if I remember
they
right.
probably threw like forged pistons in it or connecting rods or something. It's probably a little more built than the supercharged one.
That Colton guy that I brought that has that blue Dober X, the new one.
Uh-huh. Only
His-
if Andrew would come to car meets, he would know.
His black Cobalt is let's see, I think he's running 380 torque
Yeah, dude,
through it right now on a tune.
just I don't even think you need to go. You don't even need to go big turbo to get those numbers either.
Stock turbo.
Yeah.
All he did was he bought a tuner, changed the tune on it, and he literally gained like 60 or 70 horsepower.
Yeah, dude.
It was
American
stupid.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom really
American-made
quick. I'll be right back.
American
keep
made.
going.
Are you gonna pause it, or are we gonna keep going?
No, let's just keep going.
American made 4-cylinder turbo engines are so fucking torquey. All of them, every single one that I can think of. They don't do like higher horsepower, lower torque. They always make them super torquey. The EcoBoost, the SRT4 motor, the Cobalt SS motor, Focus ST's EcoBoost.
They're also not
But-
they don't like to bounce off the rev limiter at all.
RS.
Well, you don't need to because all the power is low and mid range. You don't have to ring it out like you do a Honda.
So I guess what I'm saying is the common points of failures when you do stuff like that is the top end likes to break when you abuse them versus like a Honda that you can just abuse all day. They don't like to be bounced off the rev limiter a lot, and they will blow the top end if you
Yeah,
do it constantly.
they're not as rev happy
Yeah.
as some of those other Japanese 4-cylinders.
Yeah.
So for the under 10K price point, you got 10 grand to spend on like
10
your
grand?
first project
Haven't even
car.
Oh
thought about
my
this
Turbo
one.
Grab it.
Civic. Turbo Civic. all day
you would
long.
buy a turboed Civic?
Turbo Civic.
That's a terrible
as long
idea.
as it came with Honda.
Hear me out. From a
For 10
beginner
grand, I don't know if you're
standpoint,
getting something like that.
like he's gonna look at Honda and go like, "What the fuck is
Oh,
Honda?"
you know what? You're right. Fair. I took this into consideration for myself. I'm sorry.
If you knew enough about cars and you're watching this podcast and you know enough about cars to know what a Honda is, or at least you understand that, look it up and have confidence, like Honda turbo issues plus Civic, that in like like there's records of what's done, and again bring that mechanic Fred and be like, hey, this is not a stock B series motor running 14 pounds of boost on a Honda, because that's a recipe for disaster. Because they're like, yeah, I'm gonna sell this for 8K, and you're gonna be like, no. You're insane. Maybe you can rebuild the engine and then I'll buy it, but
Yeah, I'm going to say this right now. I think buying an already built car is always a bad idea 100% of the time.
with
I
proper,
did it. We'll never do it again.
if you do proper records and it's like I replaced with stronger rods, or like you're buying a Mustang that's been bored out a little bit and they have
That
proper
I definitely wouldn't
they
do.
have proper documentation, and it's not like I did this year, I did it like 4 years ago, then I'd be like, all right, go for it. I'd still, like, if you're looking for your own car and you don't got a mechanic friend, stay away from all these fucking built motors that didn't come that way stock. Just
Yeah,
buy a
built
nice
motors,
car for like 7K.
built motors, added boost, any crazy stuff like that, I would just stay away from 100%.
Like under 10K, like if you want to make power and you want to beat like not the Hellcats, but you want to beat like the faster cars that you meet, like you got a buddy with a 5.0 and you want to beat him in a roll race. I got like a 2009 Cobalt. Again, I'm just going to reiterate this: 2009 Cobalt. Buying a tuner and installing a tune is not that hard, right?
Yeah, just
Switch the
bolt-ons.
gas, run it with like performance front tires you just buy from Les Schwab. They'll put the fucking performance tires on. You only need to do the front two. It's a front wheel drive car, and that's gonna beat a stock 5.0 all day. Well, I mean, from a dig, no, but
I think full bolt on with decent front tires. Yeah, full bolt on. I think you'd beat a 5.0.
no. What I'm saying is like you don't need a new air intake. You don't need a new exhaust. Those cars are great right out of the box. Buy a tuner, do the tune, because you gain so much from the tune. You're making literally just a little bit less torque, which that's your acceleration. Just a little bit less torque than that 5.0 at way less weight. I've seen it a lot. I've driven my buddy's Cobalt. It's beaten a 5.0, like a 2013 5.0. You put that neck to neck with that Cobalt, it's gonna be close stock. It's definitely gonna win with that tune, and that's like, here, take a 2009 Cobalt for 7K. Here, throw $1,000 worth of easy to apply parts, and you're beating a 5.0. From a dig for a quarter mile, they're going to beat you in a dig because you're going to have traction issues. But if you're going to go on a highway at like a 30 mile an hour roll and you're going to race a 5.0, you're going to win, unless they've done like a full bolt-on mod list. And at that point, like if you really want to start spending money into it, the stock power limit for the Cobalt is a full like 70, if I remember right. It's like 450 pound-feet of torque. It's the same power limit torque-wise as my V8 Mustang, and again, it's way lighter. And you can throw so much onto it if you do want to throw more than just that little bit of money into it. I also think that you can buy a nice SRT4. You can buy
For 10 grand.
Yeah,
you could get
for 10 grand, you can buy a nice 3 valve
such
Mustang.
a clean one.
You can build, not build. You can buy. What else can you buy? You can buy like really nice trucks if you're in the trucks. 10 grand gets you very far.
240 SX. Like you can buy
You
a
you
lot.
could go
buy a
you
Cobalt
could go
and
buy
an
a 240
SRT4.
SX, clapped out, hopefully stock engine, like an SR20 that nobody's throwing a bunch of boost at. Run the SR20, keep it stock. Everything's cheap to replace. You know, bad paint, but like save up money and paint it yourself.
You can buy some
Great car.
MR2s, not the good body style, but a Toyota MR2.
You could get a SW20, which is the sexy one.
Okay, which
for-
one's the sexy one? Like late 90s?
Yeah, 95. It was my dream car for the longest time, a 95 MR2 turbo.
You're definitely not going to find the turbo one for anything less than 20K.
that is not going to be, that's going to be a lot more.
But if
Maybe
you
a
wanna-
turbo swapped.
If you're
one,
really
but-
into like kind of rare, less seen, you want something that's like unique to bring to like a car club, I think that MR2 is gonna swing some heads.
The
Dude,
MR2,
I love
the
that car
280Z,
so much.
the 300Z. Right?
Don't buy the 300Z.
Hey,
That's
hey
a
now.
trap. That is
Hey
an
now.
absolute
Hey,
trap.
they don't look bad.
No, what I'm saying is reliability and parts wise, those things are so expensive to maintain and very hard to work on, and they also are not reliable. There's
They did a
reason they're
lot
not
of
made anymore.
had a
unnecessary
300Z.
shit with that car. What?
Ooh,
I had a 300Z.
When?
When? A
When?
while ago. Before I worked
a
at
while
Wire.
ago.
You can get a nice, unmolested, key point there, unmolested 350Z for less than 10. Like
Yeah.
not
Oh,
drifted.
you might even be
Yeah.
able to find a clapped one for 5.
Yeah, here's my thing. It's a V6 motor. They don't like to be bounced off the rev limiter a lot, and the people that have clapped out ones bounce off the rev limiter a lot, and you're not really getting good condition 350Zs from these
You-
types of people.
You're gonna
That's
get
why.
what I was gonna get from Caleb. That's what you're gonna get.
What am I gonna get?
What you're gonna get for under $5,000 with a 350Z is what I was gonna get from Caleb. Rod knob.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
one for
raw, no.
30. Yeah.
Ooh.
Like if you want an actual good one, which I wouldn't buy a clapped out 350Z. Even if I really wanted one and I was really poor, like at that point, it's just like just stay poor. Like just don't buy that. Save up a little bit of money. I don't know. Go buy a Civic for $1,000. Don't modify it. Save up your money. Work at Pizza Hut. Do whatever you're doing. Don't buy the clapped out one. In my opinion. Buy one that's like nicer, driven by like maybe even driven by like an older guy. Buy it for like 6-7K. Start there. If you want to fuck it up, but at least have one that's like if you want to get to work, get to work.
You know what I'm going to say?
You can find some older 370Zs like 2010, 2012.
The three you're not gonna find a really nice 370Z though. You're gonna find
This one doesn't look bad.
there's a lot of I haven't looked in like a year, so maybe. But last time I looked, it's like 13-14K for a 370Z. You're getting high mileage, or like they're set up for drift. Which
So
like
this-
if they say they're set up for drift and you want to drift a car, my answer to that is don't drift your daily. Drifting breaks a lot of shit. It's kind of like
Oh,
going
wow.
mudding, breaks a lot of shit. If you're dead certain on drifting, I mean, you're free to make your own bad decisions. I highly recommend not drifting your daily.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm gonna say a Mazda Speed 3.
That's a good one.
Miatas, we forgot Miatas. You can buy
Really nice Miata.
because
Yeah.
you're really not finding them under 5K anymore. You can buy. There's a lot of nice. You can buy like a stock, not really anything done one for like 6K, 6K. You can buy. And I also like if you're gonna buy a modified car, and you just want something that's like fun to drive that people have already modified. Miata owners don't change the engine, and everything they're modifying is legitimate upgrades because that's the kind of people they are.
Mm.
and they're like 8-9K. You're gonna find a lot of like really thought out, really well built Miatas for 8-9K, and I would spring for that if I wanted like a project car out of the box. Don't really want to fuck with it. I know we in this group hate bought not built, and we prefer, you know, built not bought. But there's a lot of people where they're just like, I don't want like I just want something where somebody's already done the work. I just want something to use and it's fun, and they're not going to go around and telling everybody that they've done it themselves. Key point. They're not going to tell everybody that, and then I support that.
We're getting into a range for me, right? Under 10K. I'm gonna have to go with the Ford Focus, like 2013 to 2015 Ford Focus STs, and then the Ford Fiesta STs. Really
I think you
great
can find
car.
an ST like a Fiesta ST for that price. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, there are so many Focus STs for under 10K on
Is there?
Facebook.
Yeah.
2013,
There
I
are.
already
2013
looked
to
that up
2015.
because I was thinking about saying Focus ST. There's a bunch.
2013 to 2015.
Now they're obviously
they're gonna
like
be high mileage.
miles.
Yeah.
But even then, great motors.
Yeah, I
Fun
wouldn't be
cars.
that worried about 100,000 mile
No.
Focus ST.
No.
As someone that dailies one, really fun car, really easy to work on. You can get, all you have to do, get an exhaust, get the Cobb tuner, get a tune for it, and you'll have the time of your life. Now you're going to be measuring your gas mileage in miles per gallon, not miles per gallon. But, you know,
I think if you
I
drove
digress.
like a normal person, you would get great gas mileage.
I mean,
That's the
if
trend.
he took off his tune,
No, I think if you just drove like a normal
if I
person,
drove like a
you'd get
normal
great
person,
gas
I would
mileage.
get great
I
great
got
gas
30
mileage.
miles a gallon in my 400 wheel horsepower SRT4. I think he could get pretty good gas mileage if he stayed off the gas.
I'm just
'Cause
saying.
every time you go, you're just eating your fuel.
I'm just
'Cause you-
saying.
pop, 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 pop.
I'm just saying. I measure it in miles per gallon. Every time it happens, just big old smile on my face. When I watch the people next to me duck and scurry
for
away
cover.
a little bit, it makes it even better. Great.
until
time.
until your wife is like, "Hey, where's all the gas money?"
Yeah, Braden.
Yeah.
Your wife.
There may or may not have already been a conversation about that. So we're going to just slide that under the table for now.
How do you drive only to work and back and use more gas than the fucking Suburban?
Yeah.
The kind of rolling through this because I know we're kind of getting short on time. If you were coming out of college, high school, and you had some money to spend, or even like older, and you just you don't really have much like solid assets, but you are willing to go in debt to buy a car on payments, and you are kind of limited with the bank for that like newer time frame. What cars are you gonna buy, like for like a very long overtime span that are fun, easy to modify, and most importantly, reliable?
The Mustang GT350 and GT500.
That's a little
that's on the
expensive.
higher side. That's on the higher side.
I'm just saying.
60K for
Yeah,
a
You said if
60,
I'm
70.
willing to go into debt long term, that's what I would do.
I mean, I say a freaking like a 2013, 2014 GT500. Yes, you could probably afford that.
What I'm gonna say is that there's a difference between going into debt and actually being able to afford your debt. And I think that GT5, like if you're coming out of college, like
Hey, you said older.
if you swung like a 6-figure job, and I'd be like, yeah, just get whatever you want. But most of the people, they're gonna come out of college with like entry level jobs, Braden, and I think that
Hey,
I think that you need to buy like GT500. No, getting a Mustang GT with like a 5.0 and getting like a
Yeah.
2016, 2018, 2020, 2022, that sounds a lot more reasonable. Like, get the Mustang that you want, and the motors are reliable. If you save up all of your eggs, hopefully pay off the car first. Um,
I mean,
and you do want to throw a turbo in the car, they are very highly receptive to turbos. And
Yes.
I think that, there's a lot of mod support. You really can't go wrong.
the 2014 C7 Corvettes with the LT, either the Stingray, the Grand Sport, or even the Z06, but the Z06 is getting on the
we're
higher
talking
side.
a really expensive car.
We're going
I
back
was-
to 60K.
I was thinking.
Well, the Z06 is 60K, yeah,
Yeah, but
I was
but that's
thinking,
on the
like,
higher side. Like a Grand Sport or a normal Stingray, those are probably like in the good 40s.
What
Yeah,
year
we're-
did you
we're-
say?
I said 2014. Like
Here's a
in,
2017 for 44,000.
see,
I mean, I guess
that's
that's
not
barely
bad.
barely like over brand new STI prices, but
I
it's
mean,
still. I was thinking like Evo
I mean-
X.
Or you can go C6s. You can do C6 Corvettes
Look,
for
I just
freaking.
want to point out.
you can't
over
go
there.
you can't go older than like 2012. I think it's 2013 right now. Somewhere around there for like the limit for like what a bank's gonna want to finance. And the older car you get, the closer you get to like down to that like 2015, 2014 level, you have a higher likelihood of not being approved for a loan, and more importantly, your interest rates and your monthly payments are going to be a lot higher. So even though that at that 44K, it is going to be a lot less like initial value for that car than something like a new Subaru for, let's say, if it's also 44K, the payments and the money you're going to pay over time for that Subaru is going to be a lot lower than something like a 2015 car. Which is kind of why I'm kind of engineering towards, like, if you got a Mustang GT and if it was like a 2019 or a 2020, you are going to pay less over time because your bank is going to give you a better rate for that car. And that's like 30K, 30 to 35K is like what I would consider a top end for like coming out of high school or coming out of college. You're not going to be able to afford a payment for that on a 2014 car that's $45,000. We're talking, like, especially when it comes to insurance, because insurance is the other half of this. We're talking like $1,000 a month and more for these payments. And I know a lot of people that have like 2020 GTs with insurance, and they're only paying, like, granted also clean records, like $800, $900 a month. In that like $300 range is a lot.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody that, even if you're paying higher in rent, like even $800 is too much.
So, to give you a reasonable answer, I'm going to have to go with a newer Focus ST or RS, depending on if you want to go front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive.
So
I'll just say Focus RS at that point.
Focus RS, I think, is going to be a little bit out of the price point. Focus ST is going to be
Well,
in
what
the
is the
point.
price point?
For a Focus RS?
No, what price
You're
point are
looking
we trying
For
to
an RS, you're
look
looking
at?
anywhere from like 23 to 33,000.
23. Show me
Yeah.
a $23,000 Focus RS.
For
You're gonna
what
have
year?
over 100,000 miles. Well, I only made it for a few years here.
Fair.
I don't remember the exact years. I don't make it anymore.
I don't know. Maybe
24,000, 2017. Oh,
because
one's
we're still
30,000.
running into a situation where, like, yes, less payments, more mileage. You're running older cars, but we're also running into, like,
30K,
especially
30K.
because a lot of these turbo cars
Bye.
can break as well.
yeah.
An RS, you break something on an RS, I'm sorry, it's going to be expensive. I feel like the ST, you're going to get something newer, less mileage. You're running less power through the motor, honestly. And I mean, yeah, you're only getting front wheel drive, but you're getting a lot newer of a car.
It depends.
Yeah.
I
And
think
paying
if you're
less.
willing if you're really trying to stay at a lower price, then obviously the ST is a better choice than the RS. But if you don't mind spending that extra bit of money, I think
Hmm.
the RS is just overall the better choice.
Right.
Fair.
I also want to point out, right, like if you're taking the money that you were going to use to straight up buy a car and put as a down payment, that's also going to change a lot.
Yeah.
So like if you were looking at a $60,000 car and you were going to put 10 grand down, if you were looking at the 10K market, right, you're looking at $50,000, like 50, like $53,000 at that point. This
Yeah. I just
extended warranty.
Oh, don't
because
pay for the extended warranty.
yeah,
With that new of a car, I
I
would
just think
recommend it.
that because if you think like I'm thinking about it as somebody that pays rent, Braden.
Yeah, no. I
There's
get that.
rents, if you're paying $1,200 a month, if so, coming out of college, you're not going to be making for most areas. You're not going to be making $3K a month. You're going to be making it like that car payment is going to be half of your income at $1,000 for a lot of for most of these people, really.
yeah,
And then you're going to spend another $800 on food and rent and like living. Hopefully, again, $800 is going to be more rent than a lot of people pay. And then that leaves you with what, like $200-300 that you can't realistically like live off of because like you still got to pay for gas.
yeah.
And that's with $1,000 payment. And all of these cars, you're going to be like, yeah, you can drop 10 grand, but that doesn't mean you can afford the monthly payment.
Yeah, no. I understand that. I'm just saying that, like, I shot high for that exact reason. Right, like, right, and realistically, right, is going towards like the RS, the ST, right. So that way you're
Mhm.
looking closer to like 20 to 10 grand that you're financing. So your payments are going to be like 250 to 350 depending on credit score and
Yeah. I'm thinking like if you want to go out and get like a 370Z or like not new off the lot Mustang, like pre-owned cars, stuff like that. That's not like a C5 or C6. There's a lot of cars you have available. Um, I think an ST would be a great choice. I know a lot of people are starting to really like, like you can get like a higher mileage Type R. You can
yeah.
get you're not getting that GR Corolla because that's ungodly expensive right now.
No,
Yeah.
it's still basically a brand new thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype around the name too.
It's
So
gonna take a few
dealerships
years
are-
for that to come down.
What about the? I feel like the new Supras are still high.
Bro, those are way higher. That's like, what, 60, 70?
with dealership
Grand?
markups, if you're buying one new
Oh,
off the lot,
probably
it's still
more
over
than
100K.
Jesus Christ!
Yes, it's not
What
worth
the
it.
fuck?
You got to realize this is like 2024 shit. So dealership markups part of this. So like just because you're going and getting a $45,000 car, that doesn't mean you're paying $45,000. Because if you're making payments, you're going to a dealer and they're going to sell it for 60. And that's why I'm saying with these payments being a lot higher is like you really need a payment. Like you need your payment and insurance to be like $800.
Mhm.
And you're not going to get that with a $30,000 car for most options, unless you have really good credit and a really nice bank.
What about the Camry that like high trim Camry?
the GR Corolla?
No, not the Corolla,
make
the
a-
TRD, Camry.
I don't actually. I mean, I've heard a little bit about those.
How
I'm
much
not
is that?
as knowledgeable with.
I
those
have no
to
idea.
know.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even know they made a TRD Corolla.
There are Supras.
Now I
There are
got that.
Supras for listed for under 50.
I
And
feel
then
like
there's
that's a
one for
lot.
70.
If you're like 30, maybe. If you're like 30, you got a good job, you're making like 3 grand, 3.5 grand a month. I'd say spring for a Supra, but if it's too much for us to afford, it's too much for a college kid to afford. Let me put it that way.
So what
Huh.
is the price point we're trying to hit?
Okay, what if you were gonna go like think about how much money you make, because we're all close to that age, and it's not like we all work bottom of the barrel jobs. So
Yeah, just none
if
of
you
us
were
make a whole lot of money.
if you were gonna go and make payments on a car right now, like monthly, for like again like making 2.5 3 grand a month, on the top end, what are you gonna go buy? Like we live in a higher cost of living state, so like we're kind of the what would we go get? I'm not gonna go get a $40,000-$50,000 car. I'm gonna go get like a $20,000-$25,000 car because that's
See,
what I can afford.
what I've been thinking of this whole time is an Evo 10. If you get a little bit older, a little bit higher miles, you can get them under 20. If you want the newer, as new as you can get, because they haven't made them for a while, like almost 10 years, they get a little more expensive, like 30, 35. But that's what I want to say is the Evo 10.
What year?
Anywhere
Anywhere from '08 to like 12, you can find them
I'm finding
around
17.
like if you're for 2012 you're looking at like probably mid 20s creeping up to the 30s. 2015 you're going to be around 30 and a little more.
Yeah,
2008 you can find them like almost fucking 15 grand
I do feel like the
with
vast
high
majority of people are
miles.
not gonna have banks that are gonna want to have a 2010 car, because like if you're going that high for like a 2010 car, especially coming out of college, because like you got to think these
I know
people
it
don't
looks
have.
it looks weird when you try to finance an old car for that much money.
Well,
So
you also got to think if you're
2015.
if you're coming out of high school or if you're coming out of college, you don't have a credit history, guys.
I I don't have a credit history.
So, like, what if do you
I don't
think
finance
you would
anything.
get approved for a 2010?
No, dude, okay, right now, I don't think I'd be approved for almost anything.
I just
But personally, I wouldn't finance a car. But if I was going to, I would want to look at the Evos.
fair.
And since everybody else said like $60,000 cars, I think a $30,000 Evo 10 is much better than those ones.
Hey, Frank hasn't given his answer yet.
No, he hasn't. I'm waiting.
what's
I'm
what's
waiting.
what's the question again?
Out of high school / college, and you were going to finance a vehicle.
If you were
What
dumb
would you-
enough to finance a vehicle right out of high school or college,
Yeah. Fair.
which one?
If I was dead set on getting one right out of high school and I was gonna go make payments, I'm probably gonna get, because they're like 15, 16 grand. Well, from a dealership, it's gonna be 20, 22 grand. I'm just gonna go get a Mustang, a 5.0. Like you can get a clean title, 20K. If you do your research, 18K, but probably gonna be 20, 22K. I'm gonna. I've already done all the, because I'm kind of thinking about it right now. Only putting down like my signature, no money down. It's going to be around like $900 a month. If I want to trade in a car, which I would never do, don't trade in a car. If I wanted to sell my car, put down like 4 or 5 grand, it'd be like $700 a month. So I'd save like $200. And that's kind of like my price point that I'm kind of like 20K is my price point. So getting a WRX, I don't like Boxster motors, so I'd probably spring more for like a Type R or something from Honda. I think getting a BRZ would be great. I think getting a
BRZ is something I didn't even think of. That would be a good choice.
So a BRZ would be a great car. I think like because project cars, I mean, like you could throw trucks, getting a Tacoma, like an older one, higher mileage, like a 2016, 2017. That's a good idea. Um, there's a lot of cars out there. Like I personally don't like Evos, so I wouldn't go get an
I
Evo.
love
But like if I
those.
was in the Evos, you could get one. If you were into G37s, uh, essentially a 350, 370Z, but like Infinity, you could go get
Yeah.
a G37 for a good price range. Um, if you're one of those guys that I hate that do takeovers, I mean, like that's one of the cars you'd get, like either a Mustang or a G37. You know, do it, call it good. Don't get a Scat Pack, please. Um, if I wanted to break down a lot, I'd buy a Scat Pack, but that's me. If you want to have like fast, I mean, maybe a Scat Pack, but like I'd rather have a 5.0 and actually do something to the vehicle. But then again, I'm white and I am what 5-6 years off from wearing shorts and New Balances. So what the fuck do I know?
Get it, you're old.
I can't hear what you're saying. You're too far away from your mic.
I said we get it, you're old.
Okay, I am not. Isn't Andrew older than me?
He is older than you. We get it. He's old also.
Yeah, I am.
He's a couple years off from having an entrepreneurial crisis and growing weed in his basement.
I'm about to do that already.
he's like, I'm already doing it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there any other K20 cars that are like 2010 and newer?
Not much newer than that. I don't think they
Like-
ditched the K20 for smaller 4-cylinder turbos.
What would you
Yeah.
get that's similar to a Type R that's not like a WRX and an ST or an Evo?
S2K.
That's not a WRX, an Evo, or an ST,
Yeah, I mean,
but
you,
like Mazda speed.
Yeah, Mazda
Oh yeah, you can get a
Speed 3.
Miata, the ND Miata, the newer ones.
Those
Those are within the price point, and they're very loved. They're only like 200 pounds heavier than the NA Miata, and they make a lot more power. So like power to weight ratio, they're better than the old ones. And they do better on a track than the old ones too. It's been verified several times. They got great body kits if you want to go body kit route.
I don't know what was wrong with me. I changed
I'm
my answer.
gonna have to mute myself real quick.
Okay,
I'm
that's
changing
fine.
my answer to Terminator Cobra, 2003, 2004, SVT Cobra, right there.
For payments.
Yep.
All right, man, setting it. I don't know. I mean, if you find somebody that lets you do payments on that and approves a loan, then
Yeah, I don't
Go
know
for it.
I don't know about the approval for it.
if you
You're
could
gonna
get
have to have-
approval,
You would have to
I
have
mean,
great
you're opening
credit
up
score.
so many cars for that year range.
Yeah, no, there's a lot, but
At that point, I would just go get an R34.
Yeah, fuck it.
Like
R30.
how
R-
are you getting an
R34.
R34?
Like a legal R34.
Go find one. Go find one right now.
So here's the answer. If you don't have enough money for the car of your dreams, just be a criminal,
Because that,
be a
that
man,
Cobra,
and go steal one.
I already have that. That's already a plan.
We got a nice white one right down the road. It's an ST 2016. I'm sure the owner won't mind. Just go take it.
Yeah, for real.
I want to let you know that owner does shoot. Can't promise you'll
I'll
make
let
it
you
far.
hit me. I'll let you hit me, and then I'll sue you afterwards.
Oh, I'm going until you're dead.
You're what?
I said, it's going until you're dead.
Oh,
Hey,
well, you'll just have to deal with the consequences.
so not on the same subject, but Andrew, can you add me to your life policy?
To my what?
Completely unrelated. Can you add me to your life policy?
How do I do that?
I will guide you. If you're gonna go try to steal his car and get shot, and
Oh,
think
okay,
you're
I
gonna
didn't know.
live.
Okay, I didn't know what you were
Please
talking about.
add me to your life policy. Do it as a
No,
favor
bro,
to a
I could
friend.
probably get it without him even knowing.
Hey, I gotta go look for something in
That's
the
fine.
shop
Look for
real
what?
quick. I'll be back.
Tell your mom to wait.
I mean,
His mom's nice.
Wow.
I met her today. I gave her a $2 tip.
Well, you better hurry up, Alan.
I'm
if you're gonna
her
fucking
new
go.
son. She's disowning Ellen.
That's funny. But Braden, have you found an R34, a U.S. legal R34 yet for sale? And I'm gonna make sure you find that.
R34, yes. R34 GTR, no.
Yeah, what year? What year is it that you can?
The
'cause
R34
when did the
Skyline
R34
GTR will
start?
finally
It's
become
a
legal.
it's a 20-year
import
law.
into the U.S. come 2024.
Okay, so find
This
one. It shouldn't be
year.
hard to find then. I said
So-
find one.
I
Right
don't
here.
think so. You can find a 1999, if I remember it. There's a 1999 R34, but I don't think they made the GTR yet.
I'm
So if you're
looking up
wanting an R34
when the R34
GTR
started. 1999 with the GTR V-Spec and GTR V-Spec
Oh, it is
M1
1999.
models.
I just there was a 1999. 280 horsepower, 293 pound-feet of torque.
I'm just saying, it is legal for you to import an R34
But
now.
you said you could buy a U.S. legal R34 right now.
Yeah,
have you
all you
found
have-
one yet?
I mean,
Look, I'm just saying,
it's legal. Yes,
It's
find
legal.
one.
But
With law,
find
that-
one.
I'm not
You
gonna
gotta
fucking
find
do it.
Why
one.
does he need to find one?
I'm just saying, like, all I was saying, I'm
You-
gonna
you
go buy an
could.
R34.
He's saying you could.
Legally, you can go buy an R34
Well,
now.
you said, yeah, but you were using that as an answer to the question.
You could.
yeah,
It's a correct answer.
that is a
If you
correct
could,
answer.
if you
Who
were
are you
finding
financing
somebody,
the R34 from?
if you were gonna find somebody, it was the same argument as
Yeah,
your
as
your
your
Terminator.
Cobra.
Yeah, if you were gonna find somebody that could,
That doesn't have to be import. I can find that all day at dealerships.
Right,
Can
I'm
you find the
you could
R34? That's what
theoretically
I'm
find the
asking.
R34.
no,
34 as well.
probably not.
It's a rare
probably
car,
not. To be
yeah.
honest with you, it's a way
See,
rarer
that's
car.
that's
It's-
exactly
I'm
what
just
I
saying,
was
not the
saying.
fact he didn't say I have one you can go get right now. He was just saying you can. You can do that. It's a valid option. If somebody was
Yeah, I
selling
don't
it,
think
you could
that's
go
a
find
very
it.
valid option
I mean,
for
also,
that question.
to be 100 honest with you, it's also way out of the price range.
you are being
Well, that's probably the biggest point. How much do you think that costs?
Since we're thinking in theoreticals,
Oh yuck! That one's
let's just say I'm financing from the richest homeless man in the world who just so happens to have a GTR. He's
Oh.
like, here, you have to pay me one McNugget per month for 20 months, and then the car's yours. I mean, if
you
we're,
were
if we're-
talking about how likely the bank was going
Dude,
to
that's about
accept
how
the
likelihood
loan.
any
Now
bank's
you're
gonna let
talking
you have a
about
Terminator.
homeless people. Bro,
Hey,
I've already
hypothetical.
found Terminators from dealerships. I'm looking at
Okay,
them right
yeah,
now.
Again, what bank is gonna let you do that with no credit?
What homeless man is gonna give you a fucking GTR?
We are saying the same thing right now.
no, we're not. That's not the same thing.
Same, but different.
Because here's
Same.
a 25,000. This one's too much. 36,000, 25,000. That one's 73 because it's
Look,
Mistachrome.
I feel like I have a
Look,
higher
here's a-
chance.
14,000.
R34 GT, right? Not the Skyline, not the GTR.
That is a Skyline.
Okay, Braden.
They're all Skylines.
Okay,
It's not a
okay,
GTR.
I'm sorry. It's not the.
He says GTRs are his
GTR.
favorite car.
These
but
fucking ST guys.
I always argue with them about the names
know what?
Dude,
of these
just-
cars.
Just live your dreams at this point. Stop being American and move to Europe. Just live your
Fuck
dreams.
that.
Just
going to Japan. Fuck
just
you
leave-
guys.
No, you have an ST. You made your choice. You made your choice.
Leave
You're a
my
European guy
European car out of this. It's faster
Just-
than your American made.
Just go cry on the Autobahn. Just
you know
I'm
what?
sorry.
I will.
I'm gonna go cry in the deserts of Arizona when they're like yeah, American muscle, I can go speed through the Arizona desert and then overheat, have a stroke, and die like a proper white old man,
Yeah.
because that's what you do in America.
Top sale, lowest. Someone bought. Oh my god! Hold up. Where was this sale at and when?
Hear me out. We just make payments on Hellcat, and we live out of it because I'm coming out of college with a Hellcat, and I don't need a home. The Hellcat is home.
I just want to say this right now. You can live in a car, can't race a house.
True.
True. Yeah, Hellcat. I'll put a tow hook on it, and I'll put one of those pop-up trailers. It'll be fine. Because like, you can't put a regular trailer, because if you're going to race with a trailer on, you need a more aerodynamic trailer. That's why you get the pop-up trailer. You put a little wing for downforce. I mean, yeah, you probably have to put it like at the front of the trailer, not really the back of the trailer. Watch the Hellcat go slide sideways at 80 miles on the highway because you can't tow a trailer correctly.
I just want to point this out that Skylines, the GTTs, were selling for 14 grand back in 2022.
You want to hear something funny? They make Skylines that aren't their R34.
Yeah,
Like they R32. You can get an
R35.
R32 for a reasonable price.
I remember when they got really cheap because everybody was importing them. You could find them like 15 grand. Now all those cars are clapped, and all the nice ones are over 30 again.
Yep.
Like the GTRs, not just the regular Skylines.
yeah.
Because they were getting so cheap for a while. I remember always looking at them. And now you look at them, and they're not really cheap anymore for the GTRs.
So, I think because of time constraints and the fact that we're way off topic at this point, let's go ahead and end the podcast. Look for Alan's dead body or something, says he hasn't come back yet.
Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Have a good
Peace.
night.